we have a Wake Forest alum on the line.
Who's that?
That would be Senator Ted Budd.
Oh, my gosh. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, but without the same professional sports skills. So good morning. Hope everybody's great in Iredell County.
No, I think with you up in Washington, you've got a lot of balls in the air, right? So you got to juggle a lot of things.
I'm glad you ended it that way.
And you got to knock them out of the park.
Oh my goodness, wild times. It's been good to be back in North Carolina for a couple of weeks, travel around the state, and just update folks on what's going on up here in Washington. But always enjoy being in Iredell County when I get the chance.
Well, tell us what you did when you were in North Carolina, and then what you're looking forward to starting this week.
We visit a lot of businesses. We always talk to the military when we get a chance down east. And again, people are wondering with the committees that I'm on, what's going on in the economy and how can we make things better and what's it look like in the future. While we don't have any crystal balls, we look forward to making sure we get in the majority for us here in the Senate, Republicans here in 2024. So that's on the campaign side, but otherwise we're doing our job, grinding out day in, day out, and doing what I said I would do for North Carolina.
I saw a clip yesterday that apparently the Chinese, who knew, have intelligence centers all throughout the United States, and even allegedly, supposedly, or do we know that there's one here in North Carolina?
Well, yeah. Intelligence is a debatable word here, but so they do have a little something we're asking the Department of Justice about these overseas surveillance centers, and we're going to ask, hey, is this an illegal activity? What is that illegal activity? What are you doing about it? Are there other ones that the People's Republic of China? And look, this, to be very specific, this is not against people that have immigrated here, that are making a new life, and are, patriots regardless of their background for our country. But if they're supporting the PRC, the People's Republic of China, and the Communist Party, that's a problem, and that's what we want to dig in against, and make sure that we have identified every one of these surveillance centers here in the U.S. and we've called them out and that we've shut them down. So that's what we're investigating right now and asking the DOJ to do their work on.
So to turn the tables, I'm pretty positive that wink wink, the U.S. government probably has intelligence centers in China. So how can we remove these intelligence centers from the U.S.?
Well, I think that's why I've led that letter on DOJ saying, what in the world is this? Let's root it out. Let's figure out what it is, and let's say, hey, is this supporting our local economy? But let's make sure that we're not kowtowing to the PRC and more of this hat-in-hand diplomacy like you've seen the Biden administration do so much of. We want to make sure that we're strong and that we're ending reliance on subsidies for China, and that we're investing in our military readiness and modernization, and that we hold adversaries accountable for their aggression, whether that's internally or whether that's externally in the Taiwan Straits.
So, again, what's coming up this week?
Yeah, well, you're getting teed up for the National Defense Authorization Act. So all things military, we're looking at folks that are going to be the next chief of staff for the Joint Chiefs, also for the Army. So a lot of military issues that are coming before us. Looking forward to making sure that we're keeping our country strong and we put good people in place to do that. That's a lot of what this week's about, plus several other hearings.
Over the last couple of weeks, the U.S. court system has made some significant moves. We've had 3 from the U.S. Supreme Court, 3 rulings, and 1 from U.S. District Court. I was going to get your take briefly on a couple of these. The Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard ruling. What's your take on that?
Well, look, I think that's fair because, and these people largely agree with this. We don't think people should have an advantage or disadvantage because of the color of their skin, but we want it on the content of their skills and their quality of their character. That's what we want schools to evaluate on, and not give people an advantage or disadvantage because of their ethnicity or background. So we think it's a good ruling, and at one time that may have been necessary, but in this day and time, we don't believe that it is.
The other one, Biden versus Nebraska, where the court ruled that the administration had exceeded its power by significantly modifying provisions of a student loan program. That just won't go away, will it?
Well, that was purely political, and that was an extension of these radical policies that came out of the White House, the Biden White House, during later COVID. And really, he targeted folks at the expense of hardworking blue-collar folks out there that may be out there working hard day in and day out but not have a college degree. And he wanted them to essentially fund high-paying people that, that did have these college degrees, or folks that got college degrees with no game plan about how to pay for it. And that's what Biden wanted us to pay for, and I don't think that's fair. So it was a good ruling.
And finally, this one from the U.S. District Court, Judge Doughty's judgment in Missouri versus Biden, preventing numerous White House officials and those at federal agencies from contacting social media companies to suppress political views and other speech normally protected from government censorship.
My goodness. I mean, we knew this, right? And now we finally see it on its face that the Biden administration had been an influencer against freedoms of speech. They had been taking these major platforms, Facebook, Twitter, the pre-Elon Musk Twitter, and influencing and suppressing free speech. And we think that's wrong. It was a good ruling. Glad that they came out with that.
I saw this was pretty interesting. There's a neighborhood being built in Gastonia, and you may have seen this. Great American Homes is putting up a neighborhood called 1776 Gastonia. And the neat thing about this is each homeowner will be provided with an American flag at move-in and will have previously agreed to a contract to display it at the front of their residences at all times. Contractually obligated. If you want to buy a home in this neighborhood, you have to fly the flag.
Really?
How about that?
Hey, bring it. Hey, Statesville's got a thing about flags, so maybe we'll have them all that big as the one right off of I-77 in Statesville. But that's what we need.
I remember when that was going on, and Marcus Lemonis was Camping World was, basically throwing city council under the bus because it was just way too big. Problem was, he had agreed to fly a flag of a certain size, and we said okay, and then he doubled the size of the flag. But I got all kinds of comments like, well, I guess Statesville's not patriotic. Well, why don't you just drive down Broad Street and Center Street and see a flag on every pole?
That's right.
You're absolutely right.
I do have a question, and I'm sure that the senator probably knows that. Who left the bag of cocaine at the White House?
Nobody's owning up to that. We've got our suspicions, but I like the words of Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana. He said if his White House was as bad as that one is, he'd give his staff some blow too. So you can't blame Joe Biden for giving people some blow as bad as their White House is. But I'll tell you what, that's just absolutely awful and irresponsible, and it tells you the culture that they've got going on there. It's just despicable.
That's incredible. Well, looking further out, as you said, the National Defense Act, you'll be working on that. What's later down the road this year?
Well, we've got, everything's about let's go win. Let's go win for Republicans. That's on the campaign side. We really want to take our country back. We want to lower inflation. We want to be out there for the hardworking men and women of our country. And at the same time, I'm on the Defense Committee. I'm on the Commerce Committee. So we've got an FAA reauthorization. We've got to confirm a new head of the FAA. Now, the United States and also North Carolina, who has the motto "First in Flight," we want to keep that moniker. And we've got to be innovative, and we've got to have the FAA in place and leading on these issues. And we can't be asleep at the switch like the Biden administration has been. So we've got to put some good leadership in place for that, and we'll be working on that in the coming month.
Well, as always, we appreciate your time. We appreciate everything you do for the great state of North Carolina. We would welcome you to stop by anytime you're in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I look forward to that. God bless you all. Always love being with you.
Take care. Thank you.
Thanks.